First contact and defensive stand. The angular dishes of the Mauna Kea Observatory swept across the Hawaiian night sky, their steady rhythm suddenly interrupted by an unprecedented signal. Dr. Rohan Patel's hands trembled as he analyzed the incoming data stream, his coffee forgotten and cold beside his keyboard. "This can't be right," he muttered, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. The signal pattern was too precise, too structured to be natural. After 15 years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, he'd finally found it. Or rather, it had found them. Within hours, observatories worldwide confirmed his findings. The signal wasn't just a message, it was a warning. The hegemony, as they called themselves, demanded Earth's immediate surrender and integration into their empire. Admiral Nadia Winters stood before the United Nations Security Council, her weathered face grave as she delivered her assessment. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have 72 hours before their fleet arrives. Our conventional forces won't be enough." The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives argued about proper responses, but Winters had already set her plans in motion. As Earth's foremost military strategist, she'd spent decades preparing for this possibility, even when others dismissed her as paranoid. The first hegemony ships appeared exactly as predicted, massive vessels that darkened the skies over major cities. Their initial assault was devastating. Sydney's Opera House crumbled under energy weapons, while Tokyo's skyline transformed into twisted metal and glass. But Earth wasn't defenseless. Admiral Winters had positioned her forces strategically, using the planet's own magnetic field to mask their movements. When the aliens began their ground invasion, they found themselves caught in carefully planned killing zones. In the ruins of Berlin, Lieutenant Amara O'Keffer led her multinational task force in guerrilla operations against the invaders. Her soldiers struck from the underground tunnels, using intimate knowledge of urban terrain to their advantage. "They may have better technology," she told her troops, "but we know every street, every building, every shadow." The resistance was fierce but costly. Moscow fell within days, its defense forces overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Beijing held out longer, thanks to experimental electromagnetic pulse weapons that temporarily disabled alien shields. But victory seemed increasingly unlikely as the hegemony deployed more ships. In orbit, the International Space Station became an impromptu reconnaissance platform. Flight engineer Raj Kumar used jerry-rigged equipment to analyze alien ship movements, transmitting crucial data back to Earth, despite increasing risks of detection. Their formation patterns suggest a hierarchical command structure, he reported during one of his brief communications windows. "Take out their flagship, and we might have a chance too." His transmission cut off as energy beams lanced past the station, forcing them to power down all non-essential systems. Admiral Winters received the partial transmission in her underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. She allowed herself a grim smile as she turned to her communication officer. "Send the signal. It's time to activate Project Phoenix." As the world burned above, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a secret facility hummed with activity. The fruits of decades of classified research and reverse-engineered alien technology were about to be unveiled. Humanity's last, best hope was about to take flight. Dr. Marcus Hammond, lead scientist of Project Phoenix, initiated the final launch sequence. The massive underwater doors began to open, revealing the sleek form of humanity's secret weapon, the UES Redemption, Earth's first and only supercarrier. "All systems online," Hammond reported, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. "The Redemption is ready for combat operations." Admiral Winters nodded, her eyes fixed on tactical displays showing the desperate battles raging across the globe. "Launch when ready, Doctor. Let's show these aliens that humanity won't go quietly into the night." The waters of the Pacific began to churn as humanity's greatest technological achievement prepared to join the fight. The true battle for Earth's survival was about to begin. The hidden weapon. The UES Redemption rose from the Pacific depths, water cascading off its obsidian hull. Dr. Marcus Hammond watched from the bridge as decades of research and sacrifice culminated in this moment. The ship's quantum engines hummed with barely contained power, their revolutionary design allowing for maneuvers that would seem to defy physics itself. "Final systems check complete," reported Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka from her position at engineering. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, monitoring the complex interaction of human and reverse-engineered alien technology. "Quantum drive stable, shields at maximum capacity." The Redemption's bridge crew worked with practiced precision, though none of them had ever participated in actual combat. They'd trained for years in secret, running endless simulations for this very moment. Captain Miguel Santos stood at the command center, his posture rigid with determination. "Communications, status report on the alien fleet," Santos ordered, his voice carrying the quiet authority that had earned him command of humanity's most advanced vessel. Technical Officer Fatima Hassan responded immediately. "Multiple hegemony vessels detected in low Earth orbit. Their primary command ship is positioned over what remains of New Delhi. Energy signatures suggest they're preparing for another bombardment run." The Redemption's first mission would be its most crucial, preventing the destruction of one of Earth's few remaining major cities. The ship's advanced stealth systems, incorporating metamaterials and quantum field manipulation, would allow them to approach undetected. "Plot an intercept course," Santos commanded. "All hands, battle stations." In the ship's massive engine room, Dr. Hammond worked alongside his engineering team, making final adjustments to the quantum drive. The technology was revolutionary, capable of creating localized space-time distortions that could be used both for propulsion and as a weapon. "The drive wasn't meant to be pushed this hard this soon," he muttered, making minute adjustments to power flow regulations. "But we're out of options and out of time." The Redemption accelerated upward, its passage hidden from both conventional radar and the hegemony's advanced sensors. As they breached the atmosphere, the crew got their first direct look at the scale of devastation. The alien fleet hung in orbit like a swarm of massive geometric shapes, their dark hulls reflecting little light. "Multiple targets acquired," announced Weapons Officer Viktor Petrov, his hands hovering over the controls of the ship's main armament. A quantum destabilization cannon that could theoretically bypass enemy shields completely. Captain Santos studied the tactical display, looking for the perfect moment to reveal their presence. The element of surprise would only work once. They needed to make it count. The alien command ship began powering up its main weapons, energy building to levels that would devastate what remained of New Delhi. Santos straightened in his chair. "Deactivate stealth systems. Target their primary weapon arrays. Fire when ready." The Redemption shimmered into view, its sudden appearance causing momentary confusion among the hegemony fleet. Before they could react, the quantum destabilization cannon fired, its beam cutting through space like a scalpel of pure energy. The alien flagship's shields meant nothing. The beam passed through them, as if they didn't exist, striking directly at the vessel's weapon systems. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull as systems overloaded and failed. "Direct hit," Petrov reported, unable to keep a note of satisfaction from his voice. "Their main weapons are offline." But the hegemony recovered quickly. Dozens of smaller vessels broke formation, moving to surround this unexpected threat. Energy beams lanced out from multiple directions, testing the Redemption's defensive capabilities. "Shields holding at 90%, Tanaka reported. "The quantum field dispersion is working exactly as designed." Dr. Hammond allowed himself a moment of pride. Their theoretical defenses were proving themselves in actual combat, but he knew the real test was still to come. The hegemony hadn't survived and thrived as an interstellar empire by being easily defeated. Captain Santos's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "Launch fighters. Show them what Earth's best pilots can do." From the Redemption's launch bays, squadrons of advanced fighters emerged. Unlike traditional aircraft, these vessels incorporated the same quantum technology as their mothership, making them nearly impossible to track and devastatingly effective in combat. Squadron leader Maria Ortiz led the first attack run, her voice calm despite the chaos of space combat. Phoenix Squadron, form up. Let's give our new friends a proper welcome. The battle for Earth's survival had entered a new phase. Humanity had revealed its hidden weapon, but victory was far from assured. As the Redemption engaged in its first major space battle, the fate of Earth hung in the balance. Counter-strike. Space around Earth erupted in a dazzling display of advanced warfare as the Redemption and its fighter squadrons engaged the hegemony fleet. Squadron leader Ortiz's fighters darted between enemy vessels, their quantum drives allowing them to appear and disappear almost at will. Target their sensor arrays, Ortiz commanded her squadron. Even advanced aliens need to see to fight. Her own fighter executed a series of maneuvers that would have torn a conventional aircraft apart, quantum fields protecting the ship and crew from the extreme G-forces. Aboard the Redemption, Captain Santos orchestrated the larger battle. The Supercarrier's weapons were proving devastatingly effective, but the hegemony's numerical superiority was beginning to tell. For every alien ship they disabled, 2 more moved to take its place. Shield strength down to 60%. Lieutenant Tanaka reported, her voice tense. We're taking more hits than the quantum field can disperse. Dr. Hammond's voice crackled over the internal comm. Captain, I have an idea. The quantum drive can be modified to create a localized time dilation field. It would give us a significant tactical advantage. But the power requirements. Do it, Santos ordered without hesitation. Lieutenant Hassan, inform all our fighters to fall back to minimum safe distance. As the engineering team worked to modify the drive, the battle continued to rage. The hegemony had adapted to the Redemption's quantum weaponry, adjusting their shield frequencies and tactical formations. Their counterattacks grew more coordinated, more precise. Multiple incoming missiles, Petrov warned. Energy signatures suggest some form of quantum warheads. They're learning from us. Santos leaned forward in his command chair. Defensive pattern Delta. Focused point defense on those missiles. We can't risk taking a direct hit from weapons using our own technology against us. The space around the Redemption lit up with interceptor fire, destroying most of the incoming missiles. But one got through, detonating against their shields in a burst of quantum energy that sent ripples through space-time itself. Shield strength critical. Tanaka shouted as systems sparked around her. We've got hull breaches on decks 3 through 5. Emergency containment fields are holding. In the engine room, Dr. Hammond and his team worked frantically to complete the drive modifications. Quantum field modulators are redlined, he reported. We're ready to initiate the time dilation effect, but we'll only get one shot at this. Santos surveyed the tactical situation. The hegemony fleet had them surrounded, their weapons charged for what they hoped would be a killing blow. Perfect. All hands, brace for temporal distortion. Santos announced shipwide. Dr. Hammond, activate the field on my mark. Time seemed to slow around the Redemption as the modified quantum drive engaged. From the perspective of the crew, the alien ships appeared to move in slow motion, their energy weapons creating beautiful but lethal patterns in space. Weapons free, Santos ordered. Target everything in range. The Redemption's guns spoke as one, quantum beams lashing out in every direction. In the time-dilated field, they were able to pick their targets with surgical precision, striking at the most vulnerable points of each enemy vessel. Squadron leader Ortiz and her pilots took advantage of the temporal effect, their fighters executing attack runs that would have been impossible under normal conditions. This is Phoenix 3, one of her pilots reported excitedly. You should see this from out here. It's like the Redemption is dancing between their shots. But the effect couldn't last. The quantum drive's power levels dropped rapidly, the strain of maintaining the time dilation field pushing it to its limits. Field collapse in 30 seconds, Hammond warned. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now. Santos nodded grimly. Concentrate all fire on their flagship. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. The Redemption's main quantum cannon fired one last time. the beam striking the Hegemony command ship at precisely the right moment and location. The massive vessel seemed to fold in on itself as its quantum core went critical, creating a cascade effect that rippled through nearby ships. As the time dilation field failed, the crew of the Redemption witnessed their handiwork at normal speed. Where the center of the Hegemony fleet had been, there was now only debris and dissipating energy signatures. The remaining alien vessels, their command structure in chaos, began to retreat. "Enemy fleet is breaking formation," Hassan reported, her voice filled with disbelief. "They're running." A cheer went up across the bridge, but Captain Santos raised his hand for quiet. "Don't celebrate yet. This was just one battle. The Hegemony won't take this defeat lightly. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." Dr. Hammond stepped onto the bridge, his face showing both exhaustion and determination. "Then we'll be ready for them. The quantum drive performed better than we ever expected. With the data we've collected from this battle, we can make improvements." The Redemption had won its first major engagement, but as the crew began damage control and repair operations, they knew this was just the beginning. The real war for Earth's survival was about to begin. The turning point. 2 weeks after the Redemption's first victory, Commander James Okonjo stood before a holographic display in the ship's strategic command center. Intelligence gathered from captured Hegemony vessels scrolled across multiple screens as he briefed the senior staff. "The Hegemony operates on a strict hierarchical structure," Okonjo explained, highlighting various fleet formations. "Each battle group is connected to a central command network. We've identified their primary relay station at the edge of our solar system." Captain Santos studied the data, noting the heavily fortified position of the alien command post. "That's a lot of firepower protecting one station. They've learned from our previous encounter." Dr. Hammond stepped forward, gesturing to a simulation of the quantum drive's capabilities. "We've managed to increase the drive's efficiency by 30%. The time dilation field can now be maintained for longer periods, but we're still limited by power constraints." "We need something more than just raw power," Lieutenant Tanaka interjected. "Their adaptive shields are becoming more resistant to our quantum weapons with each encounter." A thoughtful silence fell over the command center. They had won several skirmishes since their first battle, but the Hegemony's technological adaptability was proving to be a significant challenge. Squadron Leader Ortiz, who had been quietly observing, suddenly straightened. "What if we didn't need to overpower their defenses? The quantum drive doesn't just affect time. It influences space itself." Dr. Hammond's eyes widened as he followed her logic. "A quantum tunneling effect. We could potentially bypass their defenses entirely by creating a localized space-time corridor." "Could we extend that effect to our fighters?" Ortiz asked, already considering tactical applications. "Theoretically, yes," Hammond replied, his fingers flying across a datapad as he ran calculations. "But we'd need precise coordination. The slightest misalignment could be catastrophic." Captain Santos listened to the exchange, a plan forming in his mind. "Commander Okonjo, how quickly can you analyze their command protocols? If we strike at their communication hub, I want to make sure we can exploit any weakness in their network." Okonjo smiled grimly. "Give me 12 hours with the captured data cores. We'll find their vulnerability." The next day, the Redemption emerged from quantum concealment near Saturn's rings. The massive alien relay station loomed ahead, surrounded by a defensive screen of Hegemony warships. "Battle stations," Santos ordered. "Begin quantum tunneling sequence." The modified drive hummed to life, creating ripples in the fabric of space-time itself. Around the Redemption, reality seemed to fold and twist as the quantum field expanded. "Phoenix Squadron, launch when ready," Santos commanded. "Remember, timing is crucial. The tunnel effect will only last seconds at each point." Ortiz led her fighters through the distorted space, their enhanced sensors allowing them to navigate the quantum corridors. To the Hegemony sensors, they seemed to materialize inside their defensive perimeter, bypassing shields and weapon arrays completely. "Multiple targets acquired," Ortiz reported as her squadron struck at key points on the relay station. Their internal defenses are active, but they can't track us through the quantum fluctuations. Commander Okanjo worked furiously at his station, interfacing with the alien network through the gaps created by their assault. I'm into their command protocols. Uploading the virus now. The virus, designed using insights gained from their study of hegemony technology, spread through the alien command network like digital wildfire. Ship after ship lost connection to the central control system that coordinated their advanced tactical responses. It's working, Hassan reported excitedly. Their fleet formations are breaking down. Individual ships are reverting to basic protocols. But the hegemony commanders weren't about to go down without a fight. The alien vessels, though no longer coordinating perfectly, began a massive barrage of weapon fire, filling space with lethal energy beams and quantum torpedoes. Shields at 40%, Tanaka warned. The quantum tunneling is taking more power than expected. Maintain position, Santos ordered. Commander Okanjo, status of the virus. 90% penetration of their network, Okanjo replied. But they're adapting, trying to isolate compromised systems. We need something more. Dr. Hammond's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, if we overload the quantum drive at precisely the right moment, we could create a cascade effect through their entire network. The spatial distortions would. Do it, Santos interrupted. All fighters, return to base. Everyone else, brace for impact. The Redemption's quantum drive pushed beyond its safety limits, creating a massive distortion in space-time. The effect rippled outward, catching the hegemony ships in a web of temporal and spatial anomalies. When the distortion cleared, the relay station was gone, along with half of the alien fleet. The remaining ships, cut off from their command network and faced with an enemy they couldn't fully understand, began to retreat. Victory is ours, Hassan announced, but her celebration was cut short by alarms blaring across every station. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Petrov reported urgently. Massive fleet emerging from deep space. Sir, it's their main battle group. The crew of the Redemption watched as thousands of hegemony ships began to appear at the edge of the solar system. Their first real victory had been achieved, but the true test still lay ahead. Victory and new dawn. The main hegemony battle fleet filled the void with their presence, their ships so numerous they dimmed the light of distant stars. Aboard the Redemption, Captain Santos received a priority transmission from Admiral Winters. The hegemony Emperor himself is leading this fleet, Winters reported, her holographic image flickering with interference. Our ground forces have pushed back their remaining troops on Earth. But this, she didn't need to finish the thought. Permission to engage, Admiral, Santos requested, though he knew the Redemption's quantum drive was strained to its limits. Negative, Captain, Winters replied with a slight smile. You're not fighting alone this time. As if on cue, quantum signatures began appearing throughout the solar system. Ships of various designs emerged from concealment. Vessels that had been hidden in underground bases, beneath ocean trenches, and inside asteroid hollows. While the Redemption kept the hegemony distracted, we've been busy, Winters explained. Every nation on Earth contributed resources and personnel in secret. Meet humanity's first unified space fleet. Dr. Hammond stared in awe at the tactical display. They're all equipped with quantum drives. But how? We shared your research with every major technological center on the planet, Winters revealed. Teams worldwide worked around the clock to replicate and improve upon your designs. The Redemption was just the prototype. Over 300 Earth ships now stood ready for battle, each incorporating lessons learned from the Redemption's earlier encounters. They were fewer in number than the hegemony fleet, but they carried humanity's indomitable spirit and determination. All ships, battle formation, Winters commanded. The Redemption will take point. Today we show the galaxy that humanity will not bow to tyranny. The space between Saturn and Jupiter became a battlefield unlike any in human history. Quantum drives activated simultaneously, creating a complex web of temporal and spatial distortions. Earth ships seemed to dance through impossible spaces, striking from angles that shouldn't exist. Squadron leader Ortiz led a combined fighter group, coordinating attacks with precision, born from weeks of desperate combat. Multiple targeting solutions confirmed. All squadrons, engage at will. The hegemony fleet responded with overwhelming force, their weapons turning space itself into a deadly corridor of energy and explosions. But they had never faced an enemy that could match their technological level, let alone one that had innovated beyond it. Commander Okonjo's virus, now distributed throughout the human fleet, continued to wreak havoc on hegemony systems. Their command structure is fragmenting, he reported. Individual ship commanders are being forced to act independently. Press the advantage, Santos ordered. All ships concentrate fire on their flagship. Let's end this. The Redemption and its sister ships executed a complex quantum maneuver, their drives working in concert to create a massive temporal corridor. Through this gap in space-time, Earth's fleet struck directly at the heart of the hegemony formation. The alien Emperor's flagship, a massive construct of advanced technology and arrogant might, found itself surrounded by vessels that simply shouldn't exist according to their understanding of physics. The combined quantum weapons of Earth's fleet overwhelmed its defenses in seconds. Emperor's ship is disabled, Hassan announced. They're requesting communication. The holographic image of the hegemony Emperor appeared on bridges across the human fleet. The alien ruler, a being of crystalline features and cold geometry, regarded Admiral Winters with what might have been surprise. You were supposed to be primitive, the Emperor stated. Easy to conquer. How did you advance so quickly? You threatened our world, our families, our very existence, Winters replied calmly. Humanity has a long history of achieving the impossible when backed into a corner. Remember that before you consider invading another world. The battle ended not with a grand explosion, but with a treaty. The hegemony fleet retreated under the watchful eyes of Earth's defenders, their emperor forced to recognize humanity as equals rather than subjects. In the months that followed, Earth began to rebuild. The quantum drive technology that had saved them from conquest now promised to take humanity to the stars on their own terms. Ships were built, colonies planned, and a new age of human civilization dawned. Aboard the Redemption, now a symbol of both human ingenuity and unity, Captain Santos stood with his crew as they prepared for their new mission. Exploration rather than war. The galaxy's a big place, he mused, watching Earth grow smaller in their view screen. And now, thanks to all of you, humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. Dr. Hammond smiled as he monitored the quantum drive readings. Just imagine what we'll discover out there. Whatever we find, Squadron Leader Ortiz added, we've proven one thing. Never underestimate human determination. The Redemption engaged its quantum drive one more time, leaping into the unknown. They had defended their home. Now it was time to explore new frontiers. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.